tragedies into your own triumphant life story? If so, this podcast is for you. Listen to powerful guests who have persevered through challenges so you can gain strength to build your championship life. The host of Professor of Perseverance podcast, Dr. James Perdue.
Hey, it's time for us to get started. Time to get some inspiration, motivation. Get us a little big. Go, little big? Can you do a little big? I do a little big all the time. All right, especially when it comes to getting a banana split. Oh, baby. A little bit of that goes a long way. All right, but today we'll talk about banana splits a different time. Today, our guest coming on, and she's going to share with you her journey, her story of losing her firstborn son to an addiction back in September 2024. And she found that grief mirrored pregnancy. So let's welcome to the show author and accidental poet, Katie Rizzo.
Hi.
All right. Well, thank you for being here.
Well, thank you for having me.
You're one of the few who says, I want to be on the Professor of Perseverance. All right. No, we do pretty good. We're all right, and we have a good time. And I get to tell people selfishly, I get to hear your story that inspires me for the rest of the day. Selfishly, I get to hear it first, unless we get a viewer to come in and they can listen as well. So, all right, Katie, again, thank you for being here. And sorry you've lost a child. You know, the old saying is the children ought to be the ones bearing their parents. And again, I told you right before we got started, my mom, we had to put my younger brother, bury him. He was 2 weeks shy of 38, and that was about 20 years ago now, about 18 years. And so, and his addiction, alcohol. I know people. I'm trying not to, trying to do better. Again, each your own. I'm just saying the bad results I've seen from it, I'm just not all for it. But if you drink responsible, do it at home, don't cause fights, keep your family together, no argument, whatever, no drinking and driving, hey, more power to you. It's just when the other stuff happens, there's a problem. So, all right, Katie, I need to get off my soapbox, and people are going to start yelling at me again. So, all right, Katie, thank you. You go ahead and jump us into your journey, your story, where you think we need to be at.
All right. Well, thank you for having me. And again, I'm sorry about your brother. I was lucky enough to be the mom of 3 boys. I still am. And I was a high school teacher, a proud public school high school teacher. I got the gift of teaching at the same school that my 3 boys went to. Our oldest played a lot of sports. He really shined in soccer. And along with that, he was very aggressive. He would get a lot of injuries. And during that time, in high school, he had some knee surgeries. He broke his collarbone. And every time he did, he would go into the emergency room and they'd give him painkillers. There was never a question, does he need them? He was just given them. He also had his wisdom teeth out where he got painkillers. So I'm estimating by the time he went to college, he probably had been given opioids maybe 10 times or 15 times. So like a full prescription. Mm-hmm. And I don't know that was the reason that he got addicted. He definitely had genetics against him. He was very shy. He really wanted people to like him. I think he was one of those kids who, if he could have been given the gift of going to his own funeral, if he could have seen all the love there, maybe that would have filled him up. But he went to college, and in college, that's when his addiction kind of went into full gear. His dad and I kind of thought, this is kind of normal. college behavior of, smoking pot and drinking. And I didn't realize that pills were involved. His senior year, he broke his elbow. And when he went into the ER, the doctor called and said, there's nothing I can give him that will touch his pain. It's so bad. And at that point, I kind of knew something was up, because, he must have been doing quite a lot of opioids in order to have such a high tolerance.
Yeah, for high tolerance, yes.
Yeah. And so he came home, graduated from college, came home, and he started living with us. He got a job, and it was really obvious that he was struggling with his addiction. And I don't know if you know a lot about the family system of addiction, but my husband and I joined Al-Anon, which is a group for people who love somebody who has an addiction. And that helped us. Al-Anon gave us a lot of tools of kind of looking at how to kind of help him, maybe. I don't know. It definitely gave us the tools of detachment and trying to be there for our other sons. But Nicholas, his addiction it was raging. And so we ended up having to kick him out of our house, and he moved into an apartment. We tried all sorts of things, like letting him try to hit bottom. One thing I wish maybe it would have helped if we wouldn't have supported him while he was in rehab. But he went to rehab, and when he ended up getting kicked out for not participating. I don't even know what that is, but
did he go to rehab wanting to be cured, or was he being forced into it?
He was a little bit being forced.
Because if they're not ready, they're not ready.
Yeah.
That's the thing. Yeah.
Yeah. That might be it. I don't know. He went through withdrawals, and he ended up being taken to ICU for 6 days for swelling on the brain.
Mm-hmm.
And he just wasn't thinking straight. Like, not that anybody who has addiction thinks straight, but he definitely wasn't. Like, at one point, he didn't know what my name was. He didn't know his own name. He had rhabdomyolysis, which is where your body starts attacking your own muscles. So I don't know that he was in control enough of his thought processes.
Yeah.
But he ended up getting sent back home, and that's when he took this. I believe he took the same amount of opioids that he had been before, and he passed away at home. So it's a pretty sad story. It's not unique. There's lots of moms who've lost their kids to addiction. But what was unique for me was I found after he was gone that it was kind of a cruel irony that my grief kind of mirrored my pregnancy with him, and at least the trimesters of them. I found that during the first trimester of my grief that I felt sick to my stomach. I was nauseous. I wanted to be in bed. My head wanted to explode. And then there was like a second trimester where everybody was moving on and going on with their lives, but I was growing this thing that I call grief. And I feel like grief isn't love with nowhere to go. At least that isn't what it is for me. My grief was something that was part Nicholas and part me, and it was growing kind of like a placenta. And it was messy and mad, and there was lots of expectations, and my self-esteem was changing, and my connection to my family was changing, and it was a really dark time for me. And then I went through a period of time where I wanted everyone to know. It was almost like I was a 9-month pregnant woman who just needed everyone to see this is going on. And I'd never written poetry before. And I just sat down, and every morning I would think about something about Nicholas or something that I'd seen that day. And I'd try to write a poem about it. And I did this crazy thing where I started putting it out on the internet because I wanted everyone to know that something really terrible had happened. And there was this huge space in the world and it needed to be witnessed. And around then, I started reading things by Nick Cave. I don't know if you know who he is, but he is a father who lost two sons to who died by suicide. And he's also a musician. And something he said was that he had to ask his grief not to live inside of him so closely, but to move outside of him. And I felt like that was like delivery. It was a really beautiful moment for me to get a little bit of space for my grief. And now
Yeah,
I can,
separate from it some,
yeah,
so you can go back being you.
yeah, or whatever this new me is, right?
But exactly the new me, yeah, the new me,
Yeah,
yes, yeah,
yeah. And so I kind of picture this thing that Nicholas and I made, this grief baby, looks like an orangutan. He's got crazy hair. Some days he just rips the room apart. And some days he's kind of calm and can sit and be still with me. So I was journaling during this period from the time that Nicholas passed. And I kind of looked at the framework of his passing and my grief as the trimesters. I went to a grief group. I did a lot of grief groups. One of them, there was this mom who had lost her son, and she'd been going to this grief group for a little while, maybe 5 years, 6 years. But she was sitting in that grief group and she looked like Nicholas did. She had that benzodiazepine, like somebody who'd taken an anti-anxiety kind of, her eyes started flickering. And I thought, we're in trouble. And sure enough, within a few minutes, she kind of fell over out of her chair. And I didn't blame her for overdosing, right?
yeah.
Because all moms, who lose kids are sad. So I understood it, but I also realized that, gosh, these moms are kind of hurting and they're hiding in the shadows. They don't want anyone to know. I mean, if I had $1 for every mom that I'd been in a grief group that said, I don't want anyone to know that my kid died from their own hand or from their addiction, I'd be a really rich person. There are a lot of moms and dads who there's so much shame and guilt and a lot of my grief groups are filled with parents who, it's been 10, 15 years and they're still not telling people. And so I decided that I would put kind of my journal together and try to give them some tools because I don't think that there's anything that you need to feel that much shame over. I mean, my son was
I
a
agree
beautiful
with you.
kid.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
agree with you that I don't want to get biblical, but it talks
Yeah.
about what what the children do doesn't reflect pain or sins from to the parents. You know what I'm saying? And then the same thing to
Yeah.
what the parents go through is not to reflect the children and the sin and stuff like that. So
Yeah.
whatever the child went through, the parents did their best that they could,
Yeah.
and it may not come out what they wanted. But to me, it shows how strong they are because again, they had to do the tough love. Okay, you had mentioned you and your husband kicked him out of the house. I know it had
Mhm.
been tough because my brother was so much of an alcoholic. Now he wasn't a violent one; he just drank but he worked all day long. Then as soon as he's off, he done drunk
Yeah.
a case before he goes to bed. And I remember one time talking to my mom, and I said, "Mom, you need to just tell him you love him, but you're not going to put up with him, getting drunk like this." And she told me she couldn't do it,
Yeah.
and yep, she couldn't do that. That's her son, and I understand it, and I also understand the tough love you don't want the backlash if something
Yeah.
happens. And
It's
so,
our,
yeah, but they shouldn't feel guilty or grief. To me, this is their opportunity to save another family,
yeah.
to let
Mm,
everybody know what they should be looking for, what
yeah.
help they should be trying to get, and that they should use this for their good to help another family. And but that's also that's difficult. You got to be vulnerable to open up like that, and
Yeah.
so it's a double-edged
There's,
sword.
it is. And there's so much shame around addiction. I
Oh
mean, my
yes,
son had a
yes,
ton. Like he was like, don't tell anybody.
yep,
Al-Anon really helped me learn that it is a disease, and some people can drink and other people they really can't, or do drugs. And I feel like as a society it's just like people want to, like, sometimes it's so weird, people will say to me like, oh well, your son didn't die of fentanyl, as if like that makes it any different. Like my son
exactly, yeah.
is just as dead taking opioids that were a prescription than if he was somebody on the street. And
Or if it
there's no,
could
yeah,
be me overdosing on banana splits.
yeah,
Okay, it doesn't
yeah,
matter if you do
yeah,
things the wrong way, the unexpected way, the overdosing, overwhelming way.
yeah,
There's
yeah.
a
There's
payoff.
enough shame.
There's a
Yeah,
payoff
there's
to it.
enough.
But yeah,
Yeah, there's enough shame in this world, and I don't think we need to put that on the backs of anybody right now. And
no, I don't. And I think
yeah,
here recently with the fentanyl, like you said, we need to be more awareness brought to make our government, our drug people, government drug, whatever federal drug thing,
yeah,
to be more aware, to get out there and help stop this instead of
yeah,
letting all this stuff come in so easy to our country and making it so
yeah.
easy for them to get a hold of it. And I
Yeah,
know you can I know they can't get 100%, but
I know.
they can get all but 10%, all but
Yeah,
20%. That's still going to kill a certain amount of people.
yeah,
But we got to work out. And again, it's got to be brought more to awareness for
yeah.
people to want to take note and adjustments to it.
And I'm wondering if you feel this way with your, like, moving into a new life. Like I feel like it's so easy to blame, and it's so easy to be mad, and it's easy to say like this is the cause of my hurting. But at some point, like, I don't know, I just feel like it's not going to help me get anywhere. Like there's a saying in Al-Anon, how free do you want to be? And the answer to me is 100%. And for me to be free, it means like all that blame, it just needs to go away. Like I'm in a lot of support groups, and there's some moms who are like, I hate all drug dealers. Like we need to put every drug dealer in jail. And I don't know, like
Sad
addiction
thing is,
is,
you can put them in, and there's already somewhere waiting to take their place already.
well, and
But
everybody
still,
in jail is addicted,
yeah, they're already there. Yeah. So
and I don't know that my son didn't deal drugs. I hope he didn't. And I don't, I know for sure that he drank and drove and did drugs and drove, and it was not something he was proud of. It was not something I wanted him to do. It's so easy to be like, that person's the bad guy, but I feel like there are people who are addicts or who have addiction are struggling. And
here's the
I don't
sad
know.
thing
It's
that
we,
here's the
yeah,
sad thing I come to learn with my brother. And again, I'm sure I haven't. Maybe my addiction is doing too many podcasts. I don't
yeah,
know. We all, my older brother says we're all addicted to something.
yeah,
Okay. It just is it going to destroy our life or not. Okay. But I learned from my younger brother that they still love everybody that's in their life,
mm,
but that addiction is so strong. They can't get away from it,
yeah,
and they don't want to disappoint you, but they've
yeah,
got to get that fix. And they feel sorry. They don't feel sorry at the time it's going on, but afterwards. And
yeah,
again, they just don't realize that this addiction is not only destroying them, it's the people around them that are trying to help them, that love them so much. And
Yeah.
he never really understood that. But
Yeah.
again, he didn't do it because he wanted to. He did it because he was addicted.
Yeah.
So
So us as a society, maybe we can kind of find a new way. Vilifying people who have addiction isn't working, and there are an awful lot of moms in grief groups right now that I know of that are sitting there in the dark, hurting. There are a lot of hurting people out there. So I don't know. Maybe just understanding and being compassionate is the way forward.
well, you mentioned earlier, and I can understand the blame game,
Yeah.
anger, all that
Yeah.
going through your grief. But there's got to be a time that you got to, like you said, you got to let it go. And
Yeah.
not that you had to forget anything about what went on, but you got to let it get out of your system and try to live your life as best as possible. You can't go back and change the other one now.
Yeah.
So
Unfortunately.
you can
Yep.
still love them as far until and pray you get to see them again in
Yeah.
the later lives. But yeah, you got to eventually, as hard as it may sound, eventually you got to bring out, like you said, the new you and learn how to
Yeah.
live it.
Yeah. Yeah. So, so as I said, I wrote this book, The Trimesters of Grief, which has some things that tools that I found from grief groups, from podcasts, from books, from Al Anon that have been helping me kind of live with this grief. And I also have another book, None of Them Are You, which are my poems that's coming out in the fall. Because I think that what people who are grieving really need to know is that there's somebody out there that hears them. There are lots of groups out there. Zoom's a great thing. That's something that came out of COVID. There are a lot of grief groups for parents who have lost kids, and it's really important to have a community. I can't tell you how many people I've met who are living alone, who don't want anyone to know that their kid died of an overdose, of an addiction. And watching them realize that there are other people out there just like them, it doesn't make it go away, but it makes it feel a little bit less sharp.
Yeah, it's and it's an epidemic too. With all this
Yeah.
going on, and if we would look at any addiction as we did with COVID, we would have a big step forward and help stopping some of
Yeah.
this. And
Yeah.
I'm like you. I used to teach. I taught seventh grade science for about
Okay.
12, 13
12th,
years.
12th
And
grade science.
there
Yeah.
you go. And I remember one time we had a speaker could come in, the whole school went in, and it was these people talking about drinking and driving, how they wrecked and killed their best friend in the car with them and going on. And then they got my class back to my room and I started asking questions. And one girl brought up a good point, and I didn't think about it, but she was right. She says, Coach, we've been hearing about all this stuff since we were in the first grade. We're just getting immune to it. It's the same old stories. There's someone drinking and driving, killed someone, they spent time in jail. Now they want to straighten us up and they're immune to it. And
Mm-hmm.
so something's got to be made a little different to wake them up now because they're just hearing the same old drug story, again, overdosing on banana splits, whatever
Yeah.
it is that they're immune to. And when she said that to me, I was going, yeah, you're right. I mean,
Yeah.
same thing, smoking and cancer. We've
Yeah.
heard and heard and heard. We don't listen
And
because
people
we're
are, no,
immune.
yeah. Yeah.
And yeah,
Mm.
and she brought up a great point, and I remember her doing that to me. So,
Mm. Well, I think
but I don't know what
maybe,
I don't know what the I mean the next step would be to wake them up.
don't you think But don't you
since
think
they're
it's
hearing it.
living by example, like what you're doing? Like, hey, I have had adversity, and this is how I am moving with it and living with it and serving other people. I feel like we need more examples of people who are living raw, real lives, not
Yeah.
Instagram lives, not
Oh,
um,
definitely.
yeah,
Too many,
not
especially younger kids,
yeah,
are seeing how great
yeah,
everybody has it on Instagram, and they're not
yeah,
seeing the bad stuff because it's all
yeah,
the good stuff, and
or just the real stuff. Yeah,
they're
yeah,
thinking their life's gonna be like the Instagram. But like you said, yeah,
yeah,
we're living the real life. Uh,
yeah.
we're older. We don't have all
Being
that stuff
honest,
to yeah, yeah, yeah,
right?
yeah, yeah.
Yeah,
So,
like this is
um,
my honest life.
yeah, sad thing is, these young kids, they're gonna be so far advanced technology than we are, and but they've got to learn to come back to talking and communicating,
Yeah, and living
Hey,
in the moment and being with somebody.
having those
Yeah,
honest conversations, and not throwing a book at them because they disagree with you,
yeah,
stuff like that. So
yeah.
I,
I agree.
Marty Cena, thank you for coming in. Marty, happy see you. Wish more. Hey, God bless you. Thank you, Marty. And I was thinking about you and Gina the other day. So, all right. Yeah, I don't. Other than living the example, just these kids nowadays, they're just so into that technology. I don't know if they know the real world. And
Yeah,
when real life comes and get them, they're not going to know how to handle it.
I don't know. I'm hopeful. I am hopeful. I have two sons who are alive, and I feel like both of them are doing a really beautiful job with navigating the world. They definitely have very good detectors for what is true and honest.
Hmm.
Not just on AI, like they'll
Well,
know
they
what's
seen
AI and what isn't.
they seen the
Yeah,
real life with your brother, with your son,
with their
with their
yeah,
brother.
with
They
their
seen the
brother.
real
Yeah,
life, so
yeah,
they yeah have realized this,
yeah.
and
So
they
I
know
feel
they
like
got a great support system with you and your
yeah,
husband, and so. But
hopefully,
again, how many other people just so out there in that technology, they're not getting that.
yeah,
But
yeah.
yeah,
Well, that's an addiction too.
they live the real life, what was
Yeah,
going on, and
yeah,
so they've learned this. They need to learn this is what I don't want, or they're going to learn, hey, I'm going to try it and I won't die. But
yeah.
what you're saying sounds like they've done the right
I don't
thing,
know.
learning the right
I
thing.
hope so. I hope so.
Hopefully, yeah,
The the detective that brought us Nicholas's phone and his computer that they had gone through, he said that in his experience that with people who did opioids for 8 days or more, he didn't have a lot of good history of bringing them back from it. And I thought
yeah,
that was a really big statement. 8 days.
and they're that addictive.
Yeah.
Wow,
Yeah.
wow.
Yeah.
I don't even know how to respond with that. It just, I mean, just being that strong of an addiction, in just 8 days.
Yeah.
So I'm sure I'm a little older to you, but back when I was in seventh grade, if we heard anybody smoking a joint, wow, that dude's a drug
Yeah.
addict. And now
Yeah.
today, smoking a joint is nothing,
Yeah.
and with everything out there.
I
So
know. Yeah.
parents are, I don't have any children. I've never been married, but parents, boy, they've got their hands full
They really do.
with
So what are
all the drugs, the alcohol, with the addiction on the internet, the
yeah.
addiction of gaming, with the
Yeah.
addiction of again banana splits.
Yeah.
So they've
So
got
what
their
are
hands
things
full.
you do? What do you do to persevere? What are things that you do to keep you sane and healthy and living
Well, I don't know if you know or
honest life?
I don't know if you know much about my story, but I got my neck broke
I
playing
do.
football,
Yeah.
and and I really believe I was listening to you earlier when you talking about your son being an athlete and everything, and you with 3 boys, I was going to call you mom for a minute because my mom has 3 boys, except the young ones passed away. But the 3 boys, and we were all in sports, so I was going to call you mom until
Yeah.
you said soccer. Ah,
Yeah.
all right. I grew up past soccer when it started, so I never got into that. But I'm just glad he was involved in some type of sports. Okay, but I really believe for me, I wanted to be when I got hurt. My game was to get improvement because when I first got hurt, they told my family to put me in a nursing home. I'd be too much
Mhm.
of a burden to care for, and so I went on and got my teaching degree, a doctoral degree, and wrote these couple of books and started this podcast mainly to help people like you get your message out there and to help other people because your message right now, they say this stuff's going to be on there forever. So 100 years from now, Katie, someone's going to find this and they're going to hear that story and they're going to say, man, my story is not unique. It's been going on 100 years now and we still
Yeah.
haven't done anything to stop it. And you're going to
Yeah.
help someone then. So I really believe part of mine is the reason I'm able to get through and persevere. I just got that competitive nature from playing sports, and I
Yeah.
just used that in life. Like when I was in high school, I wasn't the A student. I was a barely get a C, so I could stay eligible to play sports.
Yeah. That was
So
ridiculous.
there you go. Just all I
Yeah.
needed was a C. That's all I would get. I didn't care about everything else. And the teachers always tell me, James, you're smarter than this. You can do more. I don't want to do more. I just need a C so I can play. And so after my injury, I went back to college, and my older brother gave me the wisest words he can give. He said, all your energy that you use playing baseball, now you needed to use that to direct yourself in college to get your degree. And
Mhm.
he was the one that changed your competitive nature from
Right.
game playing to studying and bring it to life now.
Yeah.
So
Oh,
so
that's
he
beautiful.
was wise to tell me that.
Yeah. What are things you do during the day to kind of help you with it?
My big thing is and you probably know as well as I do, I like to help people as much as possible. We can't give and help every time somebody needs something, but we can always do something to help. And if you don't have money to give, if you don't have your time to give at that time, you can go through a store line and smile at the cashier and say, I hope you're having a great day. I hope you're having a blessed day. Instead of, why in the hell the damn thing this high?
Yeah.
They've heard
Yeah.
that how
Yeah.
many times already? And
Yeah.
so you can give them a break just to smile and hope you're having a great day. So it's just as
Yeah.
simple as that. And sometimes our kindness is a weakness to some people and we get taken advantage of, right? And that has
Mhm.
happened to me too. So, but all I can do is say, I helped. I can't depend or help what they do from it.
Mhm. Mhm.
So, but I'm just a big thing. Pay it forward, help somebody else, and when I go to bed, and knowing that I helped someone today makes
Yeah.
me feel good. So I can't go out and mow someone's yard. I'm in a wheelchair, but if I see my neighbor and I know they're sick or something, and they can't, their lawn is getting high, I'll send the guy that's mowing my yard. I'll send him over and hey, go take care of
Yeah.
them for him, and I'll take care of you. Just tell them no charge. And so we
Yeah.
can do little stuff like that. One of my greatest things that I like to find stuff thrown on the side of the street to give away. People, they've upgraded.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
you can find TVs that still work, a lawnmower that's working, um, baseball gloves, soccer balls, footballs, and just I grab those sports things, clean them up the best I can, and then I'll put them in my van. And if I go by a park and see some kids out there at the swing set, hey,
That's
y'all need a
awesome.
glove?
Yeah.
Here's a baseball.
That's
It didn't
awesome.
cost me anything to get them picked up, just cleaning them.
Yeah.
And so that's it. Yeah.
The funny thing is, so I mean, maybe I'm being too woo-woo about this, but a lot of times I feel like when I see there's a need, I feel like it's Nicholas giving me a nudge.
Yeah, it
Yeah.
could be.
Yeah.
You know Nicholas better than I do, and if
Yeah.
he was a giving person and liked helping, this is his way of you
Yeah.
continuing his legacy.
Yeah.
Yep. So yeah, I can see
Yeah.
that. So
Yeah. Yeah.
one of my sort of strangest but biggest finds was someone put a lawnmower out and had a guy in my car. And I said, "Hey man, there's a lawnmower someone throwing away." So I said, "Hey, put it in the trunk of my car." And where I picked it up from, less than a half a mile to my younger brother, who was a mechanic. And I said, "Hey, put that in the trunk of the car. We'll take it to Andy." And guy gets out to get it, and the guy that put it out there is in the garage. He hollers, "It doesn't work." So the friend says, "Hey, James, it said it doesn't work." "That's all right. Go and put it in the trunk anyway."
Yeah.
The guy hollered again. "I said it don't run." James, that's all right. Even the motor's blown. We can use the
Yeah.
frame from a
Yeah.
different motor that maybe the frame
That's
is tore.
awesome.
We can
Yeah.
use it. So we get it over and take it to my younger brother. He did the old sling blade thing. If you ever saw the movie Sling Blade,
Mhm.
he gets down there. Carl's looking at the in Sling Blade. Carl looking at the lawnmower. Guy says, "I've been working on it all day and can't get it running." Carl looks over there and, like my younger brother, untwisted the gas cap, looked down at the bottom, and both of them said, "Ain't got no gasoline." He poured gas in it, pulled it 3 times. The thing ran for 2 years. We gave it to
That's so
another
funny.
family that I knew didn't have a lawnmower, and they used it for
Yeah.
2 years before it finally broke. So that was one of my greatest finds. So,
That is
so we
awesome.
were able to help somebody, and it didn't cost us anything.
Yeah. Yeah. Except for gas.
Well, to get them
Yeah.
started in that first time, yeah. So,
Yeah.
but yeah, from there. But hey, I mean, so I read a book. Oh, what is her name? What is her name? Oh, she used to do she did what long before podcasting was a thing called Blog Talk
Mhm.
Radio. Okay.
Mm.
And she did it. What's her name? I can't remember. Oh, what's her name? But she wrote the book. It says, I think it's "The Sky is Green and the Grass is Blue." And one of her chapters is talking about helping people. And she said she'll take coupons and cut out and take them and put them on the shelves at the certain areas to help
Yeah. Yeah.
people that don't
That's
coupon,
great.
but help them save
Exactly.
some money. And she'll put them in the store for other people to find them. Yeah. So
That's great. Yeah.
can't remember you. Deb Scott. That's her name. Deb Scott.
Ah.
So y'all check out Deb Scott. Get the book. It's a good book. Um, the grass is green and the sky is blue. No, it ain't. The sky is green
Green.
and the grass is blue. It's
It's
a
too hard to
twist.
say. Yeah.
Deb, it's
Yeah.
a twist. Deb Scott.
Yeah.
So, all right. Let me see. Now, we meant to bring this up earlier, but the author of this book, Motion, and this is short stories.
I have a short story in that book, so it's an anthology. Yeah, I do. Yep.
Okay. And your other book you mentioned earlier,
The
uh,
Trimesters of Grief.
that comes out in October.
It does come out in October. It's available for pre-sale on June 12th, anywhere books are sold.
My birthday,
Is it
June
really?
12th.
Oh, that's
June
funny.
12th. There we go. All right. Hey, I just saw a guy interviewed last week. He got his neck broke on my dad's birthday, January 6th. Different
Hmm.
years, but January 6th.
Yeah. Yeah.
So, all right. Well, okay. Well, you're amazing, and what you're going through is difficult. Anytime a, a parent losing a child, because again, we mentioned earlier, it's supposed to be the other way around. Children are supposed to be bearing the parents, and for that the other way when they lose their life, however they lose it, so young, it's difficult. And I believe you're doing well. You go into your grief counseling sessions, groups is going to be a benefit. But I would encourage others not to be ashamed again.
Yeah.
that their new them needs to learn and grow and live, and again, not forget the younger one, the offspring, but yeah, shouldn't be shouldn't be ashamed of it. So they just did their part, and they can't help the outcomes on some things. So,
Yeah.
and again, their stories, just like yours, is going to help another family when they hear this.
Yeah. Hopefully.
So, and when your book comes out in October, the trimester what
Of grief.
of grief, okay, comes out in October, and again, you can start pre-sale June 12th.
Hmm.
There you go. Then people reading your book, you're going to help them once again, because what they'll do is they'll compare. I went through this. I went through this. Even though the exact thing didn't happen for the child to pass away, but your
Hmm.
emotions and your living, they're going to understand it from going
Yeah.
through it. Yeah. All right. Well, Katie, thank you for being here. Go ahead and
No,
give all
thank you.
your other social medias and mention that book again and remind people about the pre-sale one more time.
Okay. So my book is called The Trimesters of Grief. It's being published by Kohler Books, and the audio is from Blackstone Publishing. It's available on June 12th for pre-sale, and then October 6th, anywhere books are sold. Also, I have a book of poetry coming out on November 1st called None of Them Are You. And
There you
that's
go.
from Extra Publishing.
There you go. And it's because you're an accidental poet.
Yeah.
So good deal. You got two of them coming out this year. So everybody, don't wait for Christmas. Go ahead and buy your pre-order your books now. That way you can give them out as Christmas gifts. Get one for you and 5 to give away to other people as Christmas gifts, especially if you know someone that's grieving, to let them get some help this way. So, all right, Katie, thank you for being here.
Yeah.
Hey, we know people hurting and struggling today, and if you can leave us with a positive message, that'd be a blessing.
Thank you. I'm excited to do so. So, if you are somebody who is dealing with addiction, I hope that you'll listen to me and realize that anything that you've done that you're holding a bunch of shame about, that isn't real. And that I'm a mom of a son who stole lots of money from me. He drove drunk, he drove high, he crashed his car. And all of that isn't even important. That what really is real is getting clean and finding a reason to live. And I hope that people who are struggling with addiction can do that. And if you're somebody who's dealing with grief, I hope that you can hear that in my experience, the first little bit is a lot of guilt and shame. And that if you can find a community of grievers, that can help a little bit. That exercising and kind of metabolizing grief is really important. There's a book out called Finding the Words by Colin Campbell, and he talks about saying yes at the beginning of grief, that when people come over and offer a casserole, even if you have 500 of them, to say yes. If they offer, to come and help you walk your dogs, even if you don't want the company, that I think it's important that you find community. The brilliant Megan Devines wrote a book, It's Okay Not to Be Okay, and that she talks about grief rearranging your address book, and that you need to go find your new people. And even if you want to keep your old ones, which I hope you do, that there are other people out there who are going to know a little bit about what you're going through, and it's important to share with them.
Good deal. Good words and everything. Advice, especially the part people want to help when you're going through something, but sometimes they don't know what to do if you don't ask.
Yeah.
Like you said, they can bring the casserole, but if you got 85 of them already. They didn't know not to do that
Yeah.
because, again, they could have brought you something different. But whether it's mow your yard or something, but a
Yeah.
lot of them want to do something. So don't be afraid to ask for help.
Yeah. And accept it. I was somebody who I was
Yep, and
way too
accept it.
proud. I was way too proud, and it was really humbling for me to say, yeah, my son just died of an overdose, and I'm dealing with a lot here, and I'll go on a walk with you.
Yep. Yeah, accept the help. I learned that the hard way when I first got paralyzed. That
Yeah.
when I was finally getting strong enough, I could put my own shoes on, and we were tying my shoe. I was trying to tie it. Then we learned the old Velcro after that. Okay, but here I'm trying to tie it, and after I get done tying my shoes, take me 20, 30 minutes. I'm ready to take a nap now. When my brothers or my mom would say, "You want me to help you get those on today?" And I go, "No, I'm good. I want to do it myself." Well, we could have been done in 3 minutes and hit the road and doing what we're doing instead of me getting so wore out, then got to wait 20 minutes for me to recover and then go do. So, yes, learn to swallow. I say that sinful pride and
Yeah.
accept help when people are offering. So,
Yeah.
all right, Katie, thank you for being here. And
Thank
we'll
you.
go from there. And I wouldn't mind in months later, let's get together again and see how things are
I
going.
would love it. I would
So,
love it.
all
Thank you
right,
so much.
everybody. Hey, share us out to someone you know to use some help with some grieving, and they can get a hold of Katie, get her book, and go from there. I'm Dr. James Purdue, the professor of perseverance. Do something today, tomorrow, something next week that's going to help you persevere past your